Welcome back to Bass Sunday. Joining us now is a sound sculptress and jazz performer. She's a singer, songwriter who mesmerizes her audience with her eclectic musical imagery. Her exceptional talents as both a classical writer and crossover jazz vocalist and harpist lends for beautiful, harmonious melodies. Please welcome now the harpist from the hood, Destiny Muhammad. Destiny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
First, I want to talk a little bit about the harp. Not the most typical instrument. How do you even get involved in starting to play the harp? Huge instrument. You're so little.
I first saw the harp when I was 9 years old on a show called I Love Lucy.
Ah.
Harpo Marx was playing. I said, that's what I want to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, but you got started playing the harp at a relatively later age.
Absolutely, because there was no money to buy a harp at 9. And so I'm 30 years old, and I started dating a man whose best friend is a harp builder, and I got my first harp at 30.
The ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Changing your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so obviously the harp, now your passion. I mean, you perform. How often do you perform?
Ooh, well, this week it'll be 4 times this week.
Really?
And so it can go 3 to 4 times a week, and sometime just a week could go by where I'm primarily just practicing.
Wow. Well, you know, when you think of harp, you think classical music, but you play jazz.
Yeah, my mentors were Dorothy Ashby, and who was an incredible jazz harpist in L.A., and John Coltrane's wife, Alice Coltrane, who also, you know, jazz aficionados on this instrument, so I'm following in their footsteps.
And you know, you gave us a list of talking points for this interview, and you mentioned something about the jazz world and women being allowed to play lead instruments in the jazz community. Do you still think it's difficult for women versus men?
I think there are still some challenges, but what I find is that if the woman is confident, not necessarily cocky, and has some assuredness of herself, that if she knows herself on her instrument and knows herself prior to the instrument, there's not that much of a challenge, as long as she's clear about who she is and what she's going to do.
Have you faced challenges in your career?
I got booted off the stage once.
Wow.
And but that's why I can say this. The confidence level was just starting to build, and it wasn't all there. But now that it's there, folks say, no, let her on the stage. She knows what she's doing.
So we mentioned the harp. Usually you think of classical music. Now you call yourself the harpist from the hood. Yeah. Do you like to kind of point out that contradiction, break the stereotype?
I absolutely do. I'm from Compton, California, and I call it the continent. And so a harpist from the hood is the fact that I come from an environment known as the hood. Also, the word hood actually means head. It is a godhead, godhood, parenthood, harpist from the hood. And I'm not ashamed of that. Compton was good to me.
Who have been your musical influences?
Oh, my God. Miles Davis, Luther Vandross, Chaka Khan, I've got this, Diane Reeves. Locally, Kimberly Jackson, Khalil Shaheed, Eddie Gale, my mom.
Your mom?
She was surprised when she saw me do this on the harp, and she was a big supporter. She's an ancestor now, but she still supports me from the other side.
Okay, well, let's take a look at you on the harp in action. Harp music's so peaceful, so relaxing. Good, can lower your blood pressure. You know, for people who may be interested in getting the harp, young people, what advice would you give them?
Wow, I would say just go ahead and start looking for when there are harps online. My favorite place in Walnut Creek is Harps Etc. in Walnut Creek, harpsetc.com. Jessica Siegel is a wonderful, loving person who can introduce you to over 100 harps in her store, and if she doesn't have it, she can get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you obviously perform in a lot of different venues. Is there an ideal venue for you that you would like to perform in?
Whew. Ideal venue? Wow. Oakland Coliseum, Montrose Jazz Festival. I just want to perform. Primarily, the ideal location is wherever I can get there and just share the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, being a jazz harpist, did you find that people are kind of taken aback when they see you on stage? It's kind of an unusual combination.
It is. The combination, the folks aren't sure what to expect. And so when I'm able to create those licks, sometimes they sound like a Wes Montgomery feel from a guitar, and create that on harp, they say, where did you learn to do that? I said, a whole lot of practice, whole lot of practice.
Practice makes perfect.
Yes.
That's great. Well, Destiny Muhammad, a harpist from the hood, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And to get the very latest information on her upcoming projects, you can log on to destinymuhammad.com. Stay tuned. We'll continue with Bass Sunday after this short break.